Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a completely universal struggle, finding the actual drive to just sit down and study. You know, whether you're gearing up for a massive final exam, trying to wrap your head around a completely new concept for your career, or honestly, just trying to keep your head above water with your weekly reading, that tug of war between doing the work and putting it off, it is incredibly real. But by digging into the data and some really expert frameworks, we're going to break down a concept called Study Today, Shape Tomorrow. And I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to walk away with a completely fresh perspective, plus a tactical playbook for absolute academic success. Let's get into it.
So, why is it so hard to just sit down and study? It's so common to stare at a textbook or a blank document and just feel this overwhelming wave of exhaustion, right? Or you get completely distracted. You catch yourself thinking, man, I'm just too tired today, or I'll definitely be in a better headspace to tackle this tomorrow. Listen, if you've ever felt that way, you are absolutely not alone. And more importantly, it is not a sign that you're incapable. It's just a barrier that every single one of us has to learn how to cross.
Okay, let's dive into this data because it really puts things into perspective. According to research published in the Canadian Journal of Education, a staggering 70 to 95% of college students report procrastinating at some point. I mean, just think about that number, up to 95%. Honestly, that other 5%, they might just be procrastinating on taking the actual survey. But seriously, this makes procrastination literally one of the single most common barriers to academic success across the board. It's the norm. It's not the exception. The vast majority of people sitting right next to you are fighting that exact same invisible battle to just get started.
And global data from the OECD's PISA 2022 findings brilliantly illustrates this. Almost half of all students across OECD countries, 45% to be exact, reported having trouble motivating themselves to do schoolwork at least once a week. Let that sink in for a second. Every single week, nearly half the global student population hits a brick wall with their motivation. So struggling with the desire to study isn't some rare personal failing. It is a deeply shared human experience. But as we're going to see, the way out isn't about magically finding more motivation out of thin air. It's about building the right habits.
But what actually happens when we put things off? Well, a massive meta-analysis published on Science Direct looked at 33 different studies. We're talking over 38,000 participants here. And the results? Crystal clear. Procrastination is consistently associated with lower academic performance. It's not just a quirky little habit or a minor delay where you can just, easily catch up later. The data shows that putting off your studies has a measurable negative impact on how well you actually perform. It literally tanks your grades.
And unfortunately, the damage goes way deeper than just a bad letter grade on a report card. Further research tracking university students over time reveals some pretty severe longitudinal impacts of procrastination. Delaying work actually leads to significantly lower study satisfaction. Students who chronically procrastinate end up literally hating the entire process of learning. And even worse, it leads to much stronger intentions to drop out entirely. So delaying work causes real, severe long-term consequences, pushing students right to the brink of just giving up on their educational goals altogether. The stakes here are incredibly high.
Section 1. Redefining academic success. The what and the who.
So, the crucial point here is how we define studying. It is so much more than just prepping for exams. So often, we view studying as a chore, right? Like a necessary evil just to pass the test. But actually, scratch that. It's totally the wrong framework. Studying is actually training your mind to solve problems, think critically, and create opportunities for yourself. Every single page you read and every concept you take the time to really understand, that becomes a direct, powerful investment in your future self. You aren't just memorizing random facts, you're building a sharper, much more capable mind.
And according to the framework, this mindset shift applies to absolutely everyone. Whether you're literally at the top of your class right now or you're really struggling just to keep up, the fundamental principle is exactly the same. Your effort today creates your opportunities tomorrow. You haven't fallen too far behind, and there is no way you've maxed out your potential. Today is just a brand new opportunity to put in the work.
Moving on to Section 2, the playbook, when and where to start.
The when is actually really simple. Start right now. Please don't sit around waiting for that perfect mood or the right time to strike, because let me tell you a little secret. That perfect time, it's never going to arrive. Small, consistent study sessions every single day are infinitely more powerful than last-minute cramming. I mean, consistency easily beats the manic, stress-filled panic of trying to learn an entire semester's worth of material the night before a huge deadline. Just start today, even if it's literally just for a few minutes.
And what about the where?
Well, success doesn't magically begin only when you step into some perfectly quiet, state-of-the-art classroom. It begins wherever you simply choose to learn. That could be your messy bedroom, a crowded public library, a noisy coffee shop, or just a quiet little corner at your kitchen table. Sure, a good environment definitely helps, but your commitment matters way more than your environment. If you make the firm decision to learn, you can make almost any space work for you.
Section 3. How to study with purpose. Let's move to and see how this builds.
Okay, here is your step-by-step, highly actionable study loop. First, set one clear goal at a time. Don't just vaguely say, oh, I'm going to study biology. Say, I am going to master Chapter 4 on cellular respiration. Get specific. Second, focus intensely for 25 to 50 minutes, and then force yourself to take a short break to recharge. Third, review what you've learned every single day to really lock it into your long-term memory. And fourth, and honestly perhaps most importantly, do not compare your progress with anyone else's. Compete only with who you were yesterday. If you're even a little bit better today than you were yesterday, you're winning.
And finally, Section 4. Discipline over motivation.
There is a massive return on investment you get from just a little bit of discipline right now. Think about it. 1 hour of focused study today can literally save you days of intense, overwhelming stress tomorrow. Imagine the pure relief of knowing you've already put the work in versus that awful, creeping dread of knowing a deadline is right around the corner and you haven't even started. You are doing your future self a huge favor by just choosing to focus for 1 single hour today.
It's vital to remember that your future isn't created in one giant dramatic leap. Your future is built one lesson, one page, and one single decision at a time. Every small, seemingly insignificant choice you make, like, choosing to open a book instead of endlessly scrolling a social media app, that compounds over time. All those little moments of effort stack up to create your ultimate success. You've got to keep going because the person you're going to become is absolutely worth every single sacrifice you make today.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this key takeaway. Discipline will take you places that motivation alone never can. As we saw in the data earlier, motivation is incredibly fleeting. Remember? Almost half of all students lose it every single week. You just cannot rely on motivation to get you across the finish line. Motivation is great to get you started, sure, but discipline is what keeps you going when you're tired, when you're bored, and when the work gets really, really hard. Discipline is permanent.
I want to leave you with this final, lingering thought. Success isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about showing up, learning one step at a time, and refusing to quit when things get hard. Study today, because your future self is counting on you. You don't have to be a genius to succeed. You just have to be persistent. So, what is one small thing you can study right now, today, to make your tomorrow that much better? Take that step. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer, and I will see you next time.